My name is Dustin Davidson. I am Director of Government Relations for the Waterways Council here up in Washington, D.C. And Waterways Council is a trade association that consists of many different organizations, companies, and labor organizations, as well as environmental organizations that have a direct interest in the inland waterway system. And this association was created because of the balances in the Inland Waterway Trust Fund, and seeing those balances were increasing over time while construction was decreasing over time. Members of the Inland Waterway community felt that it was most necessary to work with the Army Corps of Engineers to ensure that that balance is spent down every year using the funds that we put into the system as an industry. And, so over the time since, I've been here, we've been working a lot on this infrastructure bill that we saw coming out of Congress last year. In the beginning, it was a pretty confusing and difficult process, understanding that there were many different proposals out there. We also understood that there were different equities that needed to be consulted and incorporated into this bill. So from the beginning at WCI, we focused very hard on making sure that we were part of that conversation and that people understood the value that the inland waterway industry provides to not only the nation, but to the world. Over that time, we were able to work our way into this bill by receiving $2.5 billion in construction funding. That's full federal funding, so that requires no match from the Inland Waterway Trust Fund. And once we received that funding, we moved forward to understanding what our priority projects are and what needed to be done to fund those to completion. Luckily for us, we have a process set up through the capital investment strategy that allows our Inland Waterway User Board and the Corps of Engineers to consult with each other and determine what is the best investment for taxpayer and industry dollars on the inland system. Throughout our conversations with the Corps, throughout our conversations with the White House, we were able to come up with a plan that funded 1/3 of that capital investment strategy to completion. Those projects consist of finishing Kentucky Lock, Montgomery Lock, as well as Lock and Dam 25 on the Mississippi River, which is a huge win for the ag industry. We also have Three Rivers and the TJ O'Brien Lock on the Illinois Waterway. I want to talk about Lock and Dam 25 really quickly. That was, like I said, a very big win for our industry because over the past 20 new starts on the inland waterway system, only one has gone to the upper Mississippi River. And understanding that this entire NESP, Navigation Ecosystem and Sustainability Program, has been wholly underfunded by the Army Corps and OMB, we saw this as an opportunity to go ahead and make transformative and generational change to our inland waterway system. So that project that many of you know and that many of you rely on was actually funded up to $732 million, which will bring funding to completion for that project. Understanding the difficulties we have in our system with the size of our tows and the size of our locks, this again is a great win because not only will we have that 600-foot lock at Lock and Dam 25, this allows us to upgrade and provide a 1,200-foot lock that is adjacent to that 600-foot lock to have the redundancy necessary to ensure that we have continuous river traffic moving up and down the system. It's also important that we got that funding because that now opens the door for us to move throughout the rest of the upper Mississippi and Illinois waterway system. And so understanding that 7 locks and dams in that system and that program are critical to ensuring that all ag products make it down to the Mississippi River and to the Gulf for export. We are taking every chance that we can to ensure that we're moving the ball forward and that we're getting the funding that we need to provide the upgrades that we had at Lock and Dam 25 to the rest of the system. In closing, I just want to say thank you to Illinois corn growers. You all have been a great partner to us in not only this infrastructure funding and moving forward with Lock and Dam 25, but also in other areas where we've been successful, whether that be through appropriations or just throughout communication with the Army Corps to ensure that we have a reliable system. And also want to encourage you all to visit our website, waterwayscouncil.org. We have many different helpful tools that you could use, from one-pagers on each congressional district or state and what their commodities are and the tonnage that they move through the rivers. We also have a ton of studies through our environmental and research arm, the National Waterways Foundation, that help understand the environmental and economic benefits of moving bulk transportation on the inland waterway system. So again, thank you for having me. Really appreciate the time and looking forward to more wins with you all in the future.